Hi, friends, and welcome. I am your hot mess of a host, Mary Hendricks from The Very Merry Life, your new mom friend that soon will feel like an old friend. Twice a week, every week, I want you to come and join me as we cover moments in motherhood, marriage, sex, and more. Some moments worth savoring, others worth surviving, all with a laugh, pep talk, or F-bomb every now and again. I want you to come as you are, but leave the sugarcoating behind because, guys, we know how sweet it already is. So what do you say? Up for picking some daisies? All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode. Hi, Jordan. Welcome.
Hi. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. So Jordan and I tried this a week ago and we hit technical difficulty. So we are starting over. No, it was not. It was it was the universe. It aligned and now we're meeting now and it's all good. But I'm really excited. If you have, majority of you guys are following me over on Instagram and or TikTok or both. And you may have seen a video that I stitched a little while ago, about 2 weeks ago with Jordan. And it was a video that has gained crap ton of attention. I'm going to let her introduce herself and talk more about it, but it kind of took the internet by storm a little bit. It really made a stir in the mom community and not in a nice way either. And that's why I kind of jumped in there because it pissed me off, quite frankly. So anyway, we're going to talk about it. Jordan, say hello, and then we'll go from there.
First off, you're the best. I'm like, it's crazy how the internet works and how I'm here. And how this just like all connected. But
I know, right?
I'm Jordan with the G. It's like what I like to tell everyone because you have no idea how many times my name gets like mispronounced and whatnot. So I am a new mom. We have Sweet Hutton. He's 5 months old, almost 6 months. I'm like, what the heck? Like time slow down. But I was literally just telling my husband this morning, like it's getting sweeter and sweeter by the day. Like he's like just getting more fun. Yeah. So new mom, I've been married for almost 7 years, live in the Fort Worth, Texas area. And I own an online boutique actually. And then I've had like my personal, it used to be a blog and then I just don't really blog anymore. I've had that page for about 7 years. I started it in college. Awesome. So yeah, it's a little bit about me and
yeah. I love it. So the video, let's talk about that first. And then we're just going to talk.
Jump right in. Let's
jump right in. Cause that's really what I think the crux of our conversation is going to be. Your video, you got on and Jordan got on in a dress and holding her son and just said, people have asked me why I get up and I get dressed every single day. And what was your answer?
Because I think it's important to take pride in how we look and not even like, pride. I feel like going back, I'm like, okay, I could have rephrased it a little, I guess, maybe, but I do think it's important like to represent yourself of how you're looking and how you feel. And it makes you feel a lot better, y'all. Like if you get up, you put on an outfit, it doesn't even have to be a cute outfit. Just get out of your pajamas and it'll make you feel a lot better. And that's kind of where my heart was like with the video. And it's just wild. It literally took 2 seconds to record. I didn't think twice about it. And now it's at like 2 million video views or whatever. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah. And it's been It's been featured in a few publications at this point.
Insider, The Sun, literally got an email about magazine publication. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah. Yeah. It's wild how that happened. It's funny how it turns out at some point, which I laugh because I put out like my 2023 goals was I want to be featured in some publication of some sort. And I always joke, like, you have to be super specific when you want to manifest something like that because
I love
it will come. And sure enough, with me this year, I made a stupid video about sometimes if you go into like a Marshall's or a TJ Maxx, sometimes your stomach will start to feel not so great. And it's and it's awful.
It's way too relatable.
I know, because everyone at some point, it might not be those stores, but it's going to be like a Hobby Lobby. People said Home Depot, Target, like it's just something. And so I made it.
And that is why the people love you, Mary, because that is about as real
But again,
as
it was a 2-second video that took to record. I did it to just laugh because I'm like, I know people can relate to this.
Yeah.
And I posted it up and then it got featured on like Daily Mail, BuzzFeed, everything like that. And I'm like, I am the girl that has to poop when she walks into a Marshall's now. And I'm like, that's great. And I'm like,
it's okay. Hey, no publicity is bad publicity. That's where my head's at.
I guess not. I was like, oh Lord, you got to be specific, I guess, with these type of things. But I saw the video and I've told you this, but I saw the video because I was scrolling like we all do on TikTok and it was you. And then it was a stitch from another mom. And that's what made me stop, because whenever I see a stitch, I'm always curious. And it was another mom coming onto screen holding her child covered in spit up with her hair up in a messy bun and just not saying anything and then just walking away. And then I always pay attention to the comments on TikTok because that's where like the good stuff is. And the comments is what really riled me up because, you know, people were not knowing a single darn thing about you. They were, you know, assuming what your life is and what help you have. And then the thing that really twisted me was people saying that finally I'm seeing a real mom, AKA you weren't a real mom. And that's the thing that just like got me bent over shape.
Your blood boiling.
Yeah. Because it's crap. I think we've gotten very good at, you know, moms in general, where we're so alone, but we are our worst enemies because we just beat each other up over the slightest of differences and this relatability factor where if someone else is not relatable to us, then we are, it's a better or worse. It's a better, worse type of competition. And you saw it firsthand.
Yeah. And at first, like I've told you, like you can go down a rabbit hole in those comments and there was so many stitches of like the same exact thing that you just said. And it hurt. Obviously I was like, and I just got in my head big time. So I had to stop reading them, but it's crazy because I kept telling my husband, I'm like, I just would never hop on the internet and comment on someone's video and just make assumptions about someone. One, to be hateful, which is like really, really sad that that's kind of like where our world is. I mean, it's part of it, I guess, with putting your life on the like social media. Yeah. You have it coming for you in a sense, but I don't know. It's definitely harsh. And the majority of people that were commenting, because I like would go and creep on these other people and whatnot, were moms. And it's like, just because I'm not doing it like you do doesn't mean that I'm doing it wrong. And that's something I've like had to come to terms with.
And like, it doesn't mean that you're better either. And that's what I've tried to remind people. I'm like, just because you're doing it different and you look a certain way doesn't mean you're doing it better. And it doesn't mean that you're doing it worse. It doesn't mean that I'm doing it worse because you're doing it this way. It doesn't play into my motherhood game.
Right. And I'm like, I have no clue what I'm doing. Like,
no. And I think what would have been different had you come on here and been like, everyone that doesn't do this is a piece of crap. Like you didn't put this on to others saying like, you know, I think if you don't do this, then you are doing it wrong. You said personally, this is something I believe in. And I know you had just said that maybe I could have worded it different with pride. I don't think so, because I think people have really forgotten what taking pride in yourself means.
And that's like what I told one of these publications that I chatted with, because he was like, do you like now, like all the hate that's happened on the video, do you take it back? Like, do you take back what you said? And I was like, no. Like, I think COVID got us into a state of being lazy, quite frankly, honestly, and just going from the bed to hopping on a Zoom call. And I'm going to stand by that because I was that girl for months. And then I was like, no, I've got to get back to like who I am. And that's clothes and like taking pride in how I look. And I think just as a culture, like even like, I don't know, me and my mom were saying the other day, like at the airport, like people just look like they rolled out of bed and showed up at the airport, and there's just no pride taken in like presenting yourself these days.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it boils into everything. And I think the big thing with moms, what stirred it up is because moms do struggle. I mean, you know it. Yeah. You're in the like, cruxes of motherhood. I've been there before. I still am there. I'm like, I show that daily.
You have 3 kids. I'm like, how?
It's interesting. You got to just kind of don't give a crap, and you should see the rest of my room is just an epic
no
cluster.
Shame. I love it.
It is what it is. But let me fix my computer. It's just I think for moms, it triggered because I think moms are struggling. And I think some moms are we get sucked in, and like motherhood it's a black hole sometimes, not in a bad way, but it's just
We'll be back after a quick break.
Eye-Opening Moments podcasts are real-life stories of adversity, encounters, and perspectives. They are moments that can lift your spirits, give you some food for thought, or move you. For the introspective mind that likes to reflect, discover, and find solutions or meaning in a complex life, listen to Eye-Opening Moments podcasts.
and you truly don't know it until you're in it. I'm like, I never, like, people always talk about like this, like stigmatism around motherhood and all the things that it comes with. And I'm like, oh, whatever. And then I became a mom. I'm like, oh, wow, every bit of it is right. Like the mom guilt. Wow.
Over everything.
And then I started, like I told you, then I started feeling guilty for putting my son in my content.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, should I stop doing that too? So that whole video made me question literally everything, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it will. And I've talked to you about that. Yeah. And I think, that's a conversation that I actually want to have my husband come on with and talk about the kids stuff, because I for anyone, because I think if you are listening, you probably have seen that there's a big push to get all kids off of online. And I know that there's a variety of opinions on it. I just think that there's a major difference between like the YouTuber families that showcase every inch of their kids' lives versus those who just randomly pop in as you're literally holding your son.
Like, I'm showing his outfit. Like, it's like no harm. I'm like, he has all these cute clothes. Like, why can't he wear them? That's where my head's at.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. It's hard. It's a very gray area. And I think it's extreme I guess it's extreme because there's no gray area with this stuff. I think with gray areas, you can take it and run. I don't even know, but I think you did it fine. I mean,
thanks.
He wasn't naked.
We're learning.
He wasn't naked and you didn't say anything nasty about him, but I think it's just, it's hard. And especially because you're a new motherhood and I want to talk about that. Stepping into motherhood, what have you learned now being in it? Like what was something that you didn't expect to
the mom
feel?
guilt.
I know you said
Truly.
the guilt. Okay.
I feel like I'm an on the go kind of person, like always have plans and whatnot. And going into this, like I told my like friends, I'm like, oh yeah, like I'll stay the same. Like I'll still be going and doing, like, I'm not going to like let my child consume me. And that was really my perception going into motherhood.
Yeah.
And now being in it, I'm like, I don't want to, like, I'm going to get emotional. Like, I don't want to leave him like at all. And I get it now. And I get how that can be so challenging. And the guilt, like going and doing something with my friends. Like I just got back from like a girls trip or whatever that's been planned, and that was hard, like really hard.
Yeah, I commend you for doing that because I struggled with that. I still struggle with that. I'm going on my first. I haven't flown in 5 years. Well, A, because I'm terrified of it, but B, I can't bring myself to do it and leave the kids. I'm like really freaked out about that. I'm going to LA in the beginning of November for 4 or 5 days, and then I come back 10 days later. My husband and I are going to London for a week.
Fun.
So much fun. I'm so excited. It's like,
but you can't think about it.
I can't not. I'm gonna cry my eyes out. Both situations, but especially when we go to London, I'm gonna bawl because you do. I feel guilty over. I haven't even left yet. And I feel bad.
No, and it's hard because Austin, like my husband, can't. I don't really think he understands. He doesn't get it the same way, like the guilt. And a lot of my friends like aren't in this season of motherhood yet, and so it's just like. I kind of lonely, honestly. And that's like where I'm so thankful that social, like, and I have like this community of women who there are a ton of mothers and who get it. Yeah. Because like being on that trip, there were no other mom. There was one other mom, but I'm like not close with her really. And I was like, no one gets this. Like I miss my baby. I'm ready to go home. Put me on an airplane. And that is something that I really did not expect coming into this. Yeah. So,
well, that, and then just even, what was I going to say? I love how my brain shuts off. God, this has been happening to me a lot. Do you get mom brain?
Ooh, all the time.
That's another thing.
Mom brain and the never ending to-do list that's like up in my mind. I'm like, wow.
Okay, now I know what I'm saying. God, that happens to me a lot. It happened to me yesterday with work because let's clear it up because everyone just assumed your life. And it doesn't matter.
Everyone thought everyone thought I had a nanny, which props to the people that do have nannies, but I'm not one of them. Yeah. I'm a working mom. So Hutton comes with me 3 days out of the week. He goes to actually like a family member. It's like twice a week. And that was really hard at first. Also, still really hard. And like days I just want to bring him with me, but I don't get shit done when he's with me nowadays. I'm like, he needs to be entertained. So I do work full time. I own a boutique. And then I also like, I have partnerships and stuff like for my blog account too. So it's like, I'm running like 2 businesses in a sense.
Yeah.
And momming it. So
yeah. And you're going to keep on momming it because you're like in the, so he's just about to be 6 months. I think you just said. Yeah. So it's
just going to get harder.
Yeah. And I think the thing that like you are entering the sweet zone, but I think what motherhood surprised me, especially that first baby, was that I didn't realize that motherhood would change so much in like the first 18 months. It's like that first 18 months where because you're like they're blobs. They're blobs where you can just
Literally.
place them somewhere, and soon he's going to be rolling. Soon he's going to be sitting up. Like the other day on your TikTok, I actually stitched another video of Jordan. She put up, and you were sitting with a computer on your lap, putting something on for your son to watch.
Miss Rachel, I'm like, everyone talks about it. I'm like, I get it.
Oh, she's the best. She's the best. I
yeah,
call her Aunt
wow.
Rachel. Yeah, she's wonderful. She actually is taught. I love her because my first daughter was speech delayed. So for that reason, yeah, not my daughter. She's helped my other kids. And with my third already, like she's just like,
see,
yeah. So
but
not that I have no idea if that's why, but it doesn't hurt.
I bet it is. We can get her credit.
Yeah.
That's another one. I could go on about her. I'm like, she is smart.
Sweet human. Yeah. She's smart, sweet human being. Yeah. But you do all that. And I think you put up that feeling guilty for that. And I think moms can relate. And that's the part that got so missed with your video that went viral, where people just looked at what made you different and forgot, you and I right now, you're wearing a different style of clothing than I do. I'm dressed up. Like I don't typically wear this. This is just a random day. I do that every now and again, but our styles are vastly different. That's cool. We could have parenting differences. That's cool too. It doesn't matter.
Go around.
Yeah, well, it should be. But at the same thing, the one common thread that I like to remind everyone is you're dealing with mom guilt in your own way. Same with me. We all pretty much go to bed at night, lay our heads down, and we're all like, what do we do? What do we do today?
Austin's like, why do you not sleep at night? I'm like, because there's just a lot happening up there. Like with him, like mom, like literally, like so much mom guilt, worry. I get it now. Like I worry about everything.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Yeah. Did you guys waited obviously from marriage into going in? Was that a conscious decision that you guys wanted to do that?
Yes. Because we dated and we've been together 10 years. So we were married for 5, almost 6 before we started trying. And I just really wanted to like travel. We both did, I guess, kind of, and just be financially stable. And I'm really grateful now because I was able to get my business at least like a little bit up and running before he came into the mix of everything.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I'm glad also like no one's in our season yet. Like our close people aren't like even close to babies really yet. So
yeah, that's the hard part. I went through that also.
Hard.
I'm still there where now even the friends that I do make, they either have kids and they're like close to 40 and their kids are a little bit older, or the opposite. My friends and or like close family haven't even gotten married yet, where I'm like, I'm stuck on the in-between.
It's hard.
It's like a completely different. Yeah, it's a different world because like
and putting yourself out there is hard. Like I went to a mom's group or whatever a couple weeks ago. And that's like a lot for me. Like I don't put myself out there like that.
Yeah.
And walking into that. And it's like people of all different seasons. Like there was a lot though, like older kids. I'm like, I want people that can like, that are in the thick of it with a newborn right now.
Yeah.
Like, where are those mamas at? So just trying to find my people still like in the same seasons, but it's hard.
Yeah. No, it is hard. I just actually messaged to join a mom's group yesterday on like Facebook. And I'm like terrified of that though. Slightly because has anyone recognized you out yet? Because of the video?
Literally we were in line for, it happens every now and then like around here, but we were in dinner last night. She was like, I loved your video. Like I take pride in how I look. I was like, oh gosh, like let me go under a rock right now. I hate this. I'm sweaty. Like I hate it so much that I'm like, and then my friend, she was like, you can talk on the like online all day long, but you don't like this kind of stuff in public. I was like,
because you forget. I always forget and that's like the hard part, even with like joining this mom group. I was like, oh, I wonder if they would know who I am. And that's always awkward because I don't know sometimes. The last weekend I had mom that asked me, it kept my daughter's cheer. And she didn't know me, thank God, because I never know. And she was like, what do you do for work? And I was like, well, I'm online. And then I just looked at her and was like, that sounds real weird. I was like, I'm not in that way. I was like, oh God, you probably think I'm doing something OnlyFans. I was like, I promise you it's not like that. I was like, oh.
I hate that question though. I mean, now that I have like the boutique, that's like a good like cop out kind of. But before when I was just blogging full time, I just hate being asked like what you do for a living. Honestly, it's my least favorite question.
Yeah. So that's interesting because people don't take it seriously.
Nope. Oh, my parents still don't get it. They're like, what do you do?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's all right.
But
that's all right. Well, with marriage, so let's talk about marriage after babiage because I want to pick your brain on all things because you're
marriage after babies is the hardest thing I've ever done, and I could pull Austin in here and he would definitely agree. Marriage alone is already hard, and like several of my friends that are in like the singleness trying to find their person still. I'm like, make sure they're the one, because it gets way harder after having a baby.
Yeah.
Like, damn. Yeah. I don't even know what else to say. It's hard.
Yeah.
Really
What's
hard.
been the biggest struggle? Just like default type of thing, like
I think
balance?
Personally is like it being very routine right now. And it's like he gets home, we cook dinner, we put him to bed, and then like we're exhausted and we go to bed. And so that, like the routine and carving out time for, that was another thing. I went into motherhood. I was like, we're going to have a date night every other weekend. Like, this is going to be great. We're going to keep us. And yeah, that hasn't happened. So just carving out that time, because you realize how precious time is now too. I'm like, Austin gets home from work and he gets to see Hutton for like an hour and a half, and then it's time for bed. Yeah. And so the time on the weekends is so much more precious than, I don't know, we've ever like valued it, I guess.
Yeah.
And so we don't want to just leave him and go on a date. I don't know.
I know. It's hard. It's so weird. My husband and I still struggle, because even if you have more kids, then you have to deal with a babysitter, and then you have to deal with time, and then you have work. I mean, it's just a never ending. And like, I think that's why your video literally highlighted it, because it was like, you can get dressed. So if you're doing what people do, I think people got angry because your video looked like what the stereotype 1950s motherhood is. And a lot of people are like, they're like, this is wrong. This is how motherhood should look. And then on the flip side, I'm like, well, how should motherhood look? Should we all be burnt out and, killing ourselves? Because then on the flip side, then we are struggling, and then we tell people not to struggle, and we tell people that they chose this, and, there's no winning on that side. Yeah. You work, and someone I'm sure can make you feel like shit about working, because you should be home with your kid all the time.
Yep.
And then
that's a whole other topic.
And then you're supposed to have friends and go on girls trip, but also you're selfish now.
Like there's no winning, honestly. No.
You're supposed to have a great marriage, but then also have to find time to nourish that. I'm like,
hard. Man, I wish I had a nanny, because it might be a little easier around here. I don't know. Not really, but you know what I mean? Yeah. It's hard. It's challenging for sure. And that's like, I guess that's part of like how that video kind of stung even more, is because like you follow me like on Instagram. Like I try to like keep it real. And like the other day I was like talking, I was like, it was a shitty day. Like it was a crappy day. And I try to keep it as authentic, real as possible. And so people saying like assuming that about me, and just assuming that I like have everything together from that like one little 10-second video, is like, that hurts, because it's like something I've built is like trying to be like authentic with my girls, and I guess it didn't come across in that. So
I did. I thought it did, because you were just saying how it was. People just looked at the shell of it. They're like, oh, this girl's pretty, and she's wearing a dress, and I'm like, a dress is way easier than jeans, guys. I'm just saying, because I mean, it takes as much effort to put on whatever outfit you want. I think it all just boils down to what feels good on your body.
What makes you feel good?
Yeah. And I think I think again, it's that you lose yourself in motherhood a little bit. Like, I think for you, I'd be curious and see what motherhood would look like if you didn't have a business that highlighted.
I agree. Close.
Yeah. So you're wearing the things that you sell. So there's
exactly.
I think people forget about that, is like, this is a business decision also at the end of the day. Yeah. But I'd be curious to see what that looked like on the flip side, because, and especially after, and that's what I'm saying. Kids.
When I worked corporate America, because kind of like a little bit about my story. So I was working in corporate America, got laid off in COVID out of nowhere. I just started Flourish, and I was that girl that was wearing sweatshirts and like which is not me. That's not really my personality. Like I've always loved getting dressed like this, like the nines. Yeah. But I was that girl during COVID. And then I got laid off, and I took Flourish full time. I'm like, okay, wait, everything I do is a business decision in a sense now, because I'm literally, this is how I sell stuff. So, but I want people to be able to, to understand that I do get the flip side to, you don't have to be wearing a pretty dress in order to feel good about yourself. Like you were just saying, you have a different style than I have, and that's A-okay, Yeah.
Well, I just listened to, so I used to go, like my tag on Instagram used to be that relatable AF mom. That's like when I started it back. This page has been around for a while, but when I really focused on it.
Isn't that still somewhere? I read that somewhere.
Might be on my web page.
Okay. Yeah.
I might have to remove that.
Somewhere.
I don't know. I've been trying to get rid of it. And this is why I struggled with it, because, and I've shared the story before, and for everyone listening, sorry. But I shared this where I saw someone else that I follow who does relatable content. And she was on a beach vacation over the summer, and she apologized for sharing unrelatable portions of her life. And she said, I'm so sorry for the unrelatable content. I'll be back to the relatable stuff next week when we're home. And I kind of understood where she was saying. Someone probably said, like, you're on this lavish beach vacation. This isn't, I can't do this. My family can't do this. This isn't relatable anymore. Someone probably said that to her. And it was that I couldn't unsee that moment. And I just listened to a podcast. I don't know if you followed The Birds Papaya. She is a big creator on here. She has a podcast, and she had someone on, an author, come on, and she talks about relatability, how relatability has become a box for women where it's a jab now, where someone's it's insults saying you're no longer relatable to me. So that it's like a insult and the way to like box women into a certain look, at a certain feel. And when people grow, which we all do, then we use it as you're no longer relatable. I'm just going to let you know that right now. And it's an insult. And I saw that and I was like, oh, that's what's starting to happen a little bit. And I thought about it where I was like, it's become a niche on I
haven't thought about it in that sense. And it's very true.
Honestly. It is. And again, I understand relatable in terms of authenticity and just getting on and presenting yourself as is. You are. Not because of what it should look like. And I think people have bought into the should so much of like, you should feel like this. You should look like this. I did. And I know that's why I loved seeing your video. And I kind of like jumped where I was like, this is crap, because it was videos like yours during COVID when I just had a 4-month-old. I was 3 or 4 months old when COVID hit. And that was my second baby. So I'm home with 2 babies, freshly postpartum. And I'm pretty sure I had postpartum depression because at that point you couldn't go into the doctor and get it diagnosed. You're just at home miserable.
Diagnosing yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it could have just been pandemic depression because I'm pretty sure everyone had that in some fashion. But I got up and I just stayed in sweatpants all day. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. For anyone listening, there's nothing wrong with that if you feel good. If you don't feel good right now, and I want you to sit with that, like if you don't feel good right now, think of what you can do to change it. And maybe that could be your change. And that's why I like that, where this might not be the thing for everyone. You might might not be the thing.
Yep. But even like the days that I get up and I just, even if I'm just putting on a little bit of makeup and throwing on some like different clothes, those days are far better than the days when I literally feel like I am wearing my robe all day long. And that's my heart behind the video is like, get up. I promise it's going to change your attitude for the whole day. And it's kind of just like making your bed. Like it's starting your day off on the right foot in my mind.
Yeah. There's a whole like science to it. I think they've even studied it, like what impact I can do. I make it non-negotiables. And it was someone like you that literally sparked that. And I tried it. And again, my style is different where I wear jeans. Like I wear jean shorts and a t-shirt and I put mascara on. That's it. Like this is as fancy as it's going to get right now. But it did make a difference where I was like, I was home. Every day was feeling like Groundhog's Day, but I still did something for me. I put on TV. The kids could play. I put some makeup on. Yeah. That was it. And it was.
And I want to say the flip side to that video, because it's been a lot of mostly hate, but there has been like a lot of sweet comments and messages too throughout it. So I want to make sure I'm highlighting those, because there's been girls that have been like, like that impacted me because now I've been getting up and getting dressed and it truly has flipped my days around. Yeah. And so that's like, that makes all the hate worth it, honestly. Because at the end of the day, if I can just impact one person, then that's like my job here is done. So.
I think what people are forgetting, and I had a really great guest on a few weeks ago, and she was saying when I see people get triggered, I actually love it. And I do too. Sometimes it's hard. But I love triggering people because what I hope it does, and for anyone listening, like if hearing this in some way riles you up in some way, sit with that. I want you to identify that. Like just sit. What's triggering you? Because there's something that is riled up. And I always say that like when the comments started coming in on you and I told you like when it's far easier to pull someone down, like it's a physics lesson, really. It's easier to pull something down than it is to lift something up. And that's mainly because you're not working against a lot. And to lift someone up requires work. And what I said to you that one time is people are just lazy assholes. It's literally what it is. When someone is trying to just pull you down, it's because it's easy. And that's what it is. And
it's like a cop out, honestly. Like
it is because we feel uncomfortable. I've done it. Everyone gets triggered in some
We're
way.
All guilty.
You sit with that and it's uncomfortable. And a lot of the times it's far easier to just pull someone down to your level. That way you don't have to deal with the discomfort of what it's giving
like
you.
Therapy.
It is.
Literally.
It is. Yeah. I mean, we're all going to face it in some way where it's like, you really just kind of have to sit with it and like acknowledge it. Be like, okay, you belong here. What's this all about? What's going on? So for everyone listening, do that right now. Sit with it. What's making you uncomfortable today? And then sit with it.
Should we find something triggering or what?
Yeah. Right. No, there's something. Let's do one. Breast or did you breastfeed or formula feed?
Oh, here we go.
Bottle feed.
Breastfed for 5 weeks wasn't for me, and have been on formula ever since.
All right, I love it. Co-sleeping or not? I don't know what the opposite of safe sleep.
I don't either, but he's still. I mean, he's almost 6 months, and he still sleeps next to us in his bassinet.
Oh, there we go.
No.
You're going to cry your eyes out when you have to move on.
I can't. Austin's like, he has to move. I'm like, no, I can't do it yet.
That's how I was. It was awful. What are other ones? You're working, mom versus stay home. Both moms are working. What are other mom wars?
Going on a trip. Because I feel like I got several messages about how I shouldn't be leaving my baby. So
who said that to you?
I got several like girls that follow me.
Shut the fuck up. Really?
And we can like talk about, there was a family. Yeah. Family not thinking it was right. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well,
got to do. I mean,
Who took over your son? Your husband, right?
And
the father
here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
50-50, right? I'm like, my husband had a good part to play in making Hutton also. So, and that's
it's wild to me. It's wild. The whole double standard, because I guess if your husband had gone away, it would have been no big deal.
Yep. I'm learning. I'm trying to think. I feel like the breastfeeding one was a lot big, and I shared my journey about that. And that, like, you go into it and it's so pushed on you. What did you do?
Yeah.
I
breastfed, and I not necessarily. So I breastfed my daughter. She started on formula because her delivery was messy. So that's my first. And then I breastfed her because we figured it out, and it was actually very easy.
Nice.
She was easy, but she cut me off cold turkey at like 7 months, just randomly stopped. I think she enjoyed the bottle, but I was like someone that if we were on a trip or like flying or anything like that, I was not comfortable with breastfeeding publicly. So I always just gave her a bottle of formula, like if it was easier. So I was someone that like breastfed at home because I was home majority of the time. But if a formula was offered, I was like, yeah, sure. Son, breastfed him. I actually got really good at breastfeeding publicly. So I was like kind of okay with it. But same thing, he cut me off 7 months. But same thing, I would give him a bottle of formula if I needed to. And then my last, she breastfed the entirety. She refused all bottles until a year, the day before she turned 1. I struggled because bottle refusal is by far the worst thing that has ever snuck up on me. Because I was locked. Like you're locked home. Like it's awful.
And that is something I had to like, I still am working with it. Working on it in my mind, I think is, it came really easily for us. Like breastfeeding did, like latched perfectly, was gaining weight, everything was perfect. And it was kind of like a selfish decision. I was like, I'm trying to run this business, and then breastfeed at the same time. It was just a lot for me mentally. Yeah. And my mom said something, and she's like, at the end of the day, it's your decision. It's no one else's. No one else can have like a part to play in this decision. And so that's like something I was like, okay, like this is what's best for me. And it was life-changing. So if anyone else
I wouldn't even say it's selfish. Like I think it's not even a selfish thing because, if it is selfless or selfish, then it's done in selflessness. Like you're doing it so you can be better.
Like I am a better mom
because you're not
doing this. Yeah, exactly. So that was hard.
You have a lot. I mean, you're trying to run a business. I think that too. And I think that's like the one pressure that people put on moms with breastfeeding is like, breastfeeding, couldn't it be done? Could you found out a way to do it? Yes. I'm sure. But then you would have been busting your ass. You would have adding more stress to the situation. You would not have been able to take that trip to go and like revive yourself and remind you who you are. And I know for moms, like I know for me, some of my worst moments in motherhood have come out of moments of feeling so lost and swallowed up by this thing where I wasn't able to go out with my friends. I wasn't able to like take more than 3 hours to myself. Like, and all of that just weighs on you and you can't really accomplish a whole lot. And some people are okay sitting with that. And I think it just wasn't the decision for me, and it wasn't the decision for you. And our kids are better off with it. I think they're better off with happy moms as opposed to.
But again, why as a society do we make people feel like so guilty? Like even in the hospital, I felt so pushed, like, oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
That was like one of the reviews I loved where I like gave birth and everything. But that was the one thing, like the lactation, like consultant, like pressuring, like you have to breastfeed, no other option.
Yeah.
Which was fine. But just why as a society do we like, I don't know. Why is like that something that has to be done, I guess. And then you feel guilty if you're not doing it.
Yeah. So no, I made a whole video, I think, of that once, of being like, if all the factors that weigh into like breastfeeding, if like you want to take those away, we could easily do it. But yeah, no, I was on the flip side of where my daughter wouldn't take a bottle. And then I was like, can you please like get off of me? And then people made you feel bad.
A long time.
Yeah, I got shit online when I shared about bottle refusal, because then I had someone say, like, I think because her child was at daycare and they were getting a bottle there, they then refused to breastfeed when they got home. And the mom was heartbroken about it.
It triggered them.
Yeah. And again, sit with that though. Like, and I always say that to people. I'm like, sit with it. Like, no one is trying to upset anyone, but I think that's the hardest part about social media is like we do put ourselves out there, but it shouldn't be that way because we're just sharing our truth of the reality in this situation. And I think some people cannot stand to see it because it shakes something in them. And we just are not good at facing whatever that is and realizing that it's not a reflection on me. It's nothing. It's just, you know, your reality. And then I got my reality, and they both can coexist at the same exact time. But yeah, motherhood, man, it's such an adventure. It's hard.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm like, back in the day, I asked my mom this the other day, I'm like, how did you do it without like Google or podcast or like, I just can't even imagine. And I'm like, what a blessing it is like that we have all these like assets, but at the same time, I'm like, I think it'd be better off without them. I don't know. It's something else that question.
I think it would be 50-50. I think it's nice to like, I don't know, like I love social media for like Googling a recipe, but when it comes to parenting and stuff, I'm like, I just saw one the other day. I don't know what type of bassinet do you have?
The Newton. Well, okay. I've worked with.
We invested in the Snoo. Have you heard of the Snoo?
You had luxurious. Did you love it?
Actually, yes, but not worth it. And I did it because I was desperate with my son not sleeping the second time. So it wasn't my first baby, but it was the second. And I was like in the middle of the night, so desperate for sleep that I was like, fuck this, let's go, and just hit purchase. And I was like, you need to
Didn't think twice.
Yeah. Especially when you're a second kid, because you don't have the luxury to like sit and rest with I had a 21-month age gap. So it was like a lot, but it was great. But I just saw like someone saying that thing was like, is bad for babies and things like that. And I'm like, oh my God, you can't win.
Or like back in the day, my mom's like, it used to be like encouraged for y'all to sleep on your stomach, like with babies. And now it's like, back is best. I'm like, what even is the right way for anything, honestly?
I think my mom said for us, it was on your side where you had to roll up blankets and tuck them under the side. So that way, if we spit up, it would just come out.
Makes
and
sense.
You would switch the baby each side. I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
Wow.
I have, I don't even know if I have it up here. Hold on. Let me look. I'll see.
Okay.
Let me see if I have it. Yes, I do. The top, okay. Everyone listening to me is going to be, this is wild. We'll end it after this. That way people can enjoy. Okay. This is how I like my podcast. I like them to be conversational. So everyone enjoy.
Yes.
This is missing the cover, but this is from my aunt my aunt was 16 years older than my mom. My mom's one of 7. So she had her babies in like the mid 60s, like 65. And so this was the manual that was like given to her, and it was like the cover of it is like pink and it had like a pregnant woman on the front, but it's kind of, what's it called? A doctor discusses pregnancy. So it all goes through here. Wow. But when it goes through like what to expect when you're pregnant, what's happening, this part is my favorite of what they were told not to eat and what they, let's see. Alcohol is the best part in that one because they go through like drinking and smoking. They basically say that you shouldn't smoke more than like a cigarette, like a pack a day or something. Like that. This is the best. Okay. Training exercises to do safely while pregnant. Lay on your back. Do some squats or whatever the hell, or Indian style.
Like, I don't work out, but I can,
twist. Oh. You guys can't see that. I'll see if I can put this somewhere. Driving, ironing.
Stop. These are exercises.
Yeah. This one's real good. Getting up from a chair, and the real good one is putting your hat box away, because you know how they used to wear hats. Yeah.
Oh, that is hilarious.
Yeah. Oh,
Talk
smoking
about
and drinking.
60s for you.
Yeah. Smoking and drinking. Their approach is do, don't overdo. So
see, and we can't even have like a turkey sandwich if you want it. Like, come on.
No. If you have excessive smoking, about 20 a day, may indicate a nervous condition, which is far more detrimental to the mother. So basically, if you're smoking a lot, you're probably stressed, and that's probably bad. Well, although until recently, smoking has not been considered harmful, there is mounting evidence that it might result in low birth weight. And they're basically saying you should just go easy on it unless you've had history of miscarriage or premature birth. And then they also say not to do it because smoking often becomes irritating to the pregnant woman, especially if she experiences morning sickness. And then, there's no evidence that an occasional cocktail before dinner is harmful. Drinking to the point of intoxication is unwise. Besides being unhealthy, it kills the aura of loveliness about a woman. It makes her legs rubbery, throws her equilibrium off balance, and makes her highly prone to accidental falls. Being in traction with a broken leg during pregnancy is worse than a jail sentence.
You need to make a TikTok with this, because this is funny.
Yeah. Drugs. I think they're all good about avoiding drugs. So
that's good.
We're good there. But yeah, that's...
So ladies, go smoke a pack of cigs and get a cocktail.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go. Yeah. So that's what people thought you were doing with your video, which is crap.
Literally. That's why
Yeah.
Oh, I can't.
Yeah. Well, I think you're doing great.
Leave it leave it to Beaver. Like, that's like those vibes, right? Wasn't that the show? Leave it to
and that's what everyone gets. Yeah, everyone gets all upset about that stuff, especially like seeing you in a dress. And like what they forget is like that is not at all the case. And I think that like we're just in a world where everything's different. Like femininity is a bad thing, and there's a lot of conversations.
A lot of people were like, what are you gonna do if he spits up on you? I'm like, if he spits up on me, he spits up on me. Y'all, like, I will figure it. If he spits up on your other outfit, you're gonna figure it out. And the same thing if I'm wearing a dress.
Yeah. Hey, but I think you're doing great. I think you're navigating all of it. You're going to keep navigating it. That's just what motherhood
but like you said, when we tried to record this the first time, you're like, he's getting to the age where you're going to have baby fever. And I'm like, I can kind of see how that happens.
Yeah, watch out.
Knock on all the wood.
Yeah, that's what happened to me. We funny enough tried with our first because she was so stinking easy, and I think it depends on the baby, but she was so easy and so sweet that we started like trying it like 7 months postpartum, but we didn't get pregnant until she was like a year.
Okay.
And thank God it was a little bit longer. It still wasn't that crazy, but yeah, it two knocked me a little bit.
See, and that's our second one's going to be, Hutton's so easy. Yeah. And our second one's going to be interesting. I'm just trying to like get my mind ready for that. So
that's my son. Then my third is she's just a zoo animal at this point.
Cute. She's so cute.
She's a wild woman, but I think it depends on your attitude the entire time. I think 2 is going to teach you prioritization even more than what you have now. So I think you having that. No.
Like what to say no to. That's something else that I've learned. Like I can't say yes to everything like I used to. I feel like I'm like a really big yes person. Yeah. And now it's like, like I have, my priorities are different.
Yeah. And you'll learn that. And I actually, that's a great for everyone also listening. Like think about that. If you have multiple kids, think about what each kid taught you. And I love the other comment, but we'll wrap it up after this, was everyone said, wait until you first child. I think everyone was like, oh, you first baby.
Wait till your second.
Yeah. And things like that, which I can't stand the just wait thing. But you actually could get better at what you're even doing, like even more, more routine,
and I'm
more.
I just get up a little bit earlier than he does, and I like that's a priority for me though. That's like top priority, without a question. So,
it was my second that got me into getting dressed every day. I didn't do that with my first, and it was my second because my second was the one that realized like I had to carve out time. Like I had to create a non-negotiable for myself because with my first, I had it a little bit. Like I had it. I didn't really take advantage of it, but I had it and I didn't realize what I had until it was gone with the second. And that's what reminded me of it. And that's, the second baby was when it actually came for me. So for people to make that argument, I'm like, well, no, just each baby's going to teach you something different. Yeah.
Yeah. So. I can't wait. Oh, I can't wait, but I can't wait. There will probably be a new social media platform by then, but you know what I mean.
I know. Yeah. Lemonade's that new one that everyone's talking about. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
Have you started a broadcast channel? Sorry, I'm really going because you should start a broadcast channel.
I can't.
On Instagram?
I can't. They don't give me the option. They say it's not available to everyone yet. And I can't.
I just started one for Flourish and it is my favorite thing ever. It's so fun.
What is it?
You can literally, it's just like talking like one-on-one to your community, but at a mass. They can't reply, which I wish they could, but like for Flourish, I'm like, oh, sneak peeks, like in the broadcast channel, make sure you go join that, like in order to see like new arrivals before everyone else.
I can't. I saw your broadcast channel and when I click on it, it says not available.
Oh, you can't. Okay. Someone messaged me.
I can't even go into yours. Yeah. She probably just doesn't have the feature, but I don't have the feature at all. And there's been, moms, like mom creators. Yeah. Cause I'm connected with a bunch of them that have like a joint one where I'm like, oh, I can't do that. I'm like, I'm jealous, but yeah, okay, I would love it because that would be good for me. I'm like I've always tried to find like a community.
Well, and you're really good, like making like I'm like, I don't know you, but I literally like texted you that or messaged you the other day or whatever. And like making people feel seen and heard, even when you like don't know them, like really. And so I got to give you props to that.
Oh, thank you.
Literally.
Thanks. I've always been at it. I've been like that I think that's why like my page, I've been like that. I always explain myself as like in high school, it was kind of like a floater being that I didn't have like a click per se, but it wasn't rare to see me at like
you were everyone's friend.
Yeah. If that makes sense. I had a friend that had like a giant like rainbow like mohawk, and then I was out hanging with the lacrosse kids and the soccer kids, and I just was everywhere. I was like
well-rounded.
Yeah, I just stayed under the radar and had fun. I was just about fun. I want people to be happy, so that's all I care about. But we'll see.
Well, but yay,
awesome. Well, for everyone listening, I'm going to link all of Jordan's stuff in the show notes. I'm going to link her boutique, Flourish and Frills. So go check her out. I actually have a jacket that I bought from her, which is freaking adorable. So
I wore my flowers. So picking daisies. I'm like, I was trying on brand for you.
I actually love that. I think that is so stinking.
I feel like this is kind of your vibe. I'm like,
yeah,
it's cute.
I wonder if I could pull that off. I might have to try it.
I love it.
I need an outfit.
But the jacket you got is really cute with the daisies on it. So
I know. When I saw that, I was like, yeah, that's coming. You're coming home with me. But yeah, go check her out. I'm going to link everything and go give her some love and remind yourself, like right now, you're going to find people that you disagree with. You're going to find moms that are doing things different than you, that look different than you, whose family entire setup is different than you. But remind yourself, like everyone is just trying to figure this out. And we have to just lead with kindness in these things and empathy. And I think that's one thing that moms are forgetting a lot on, is that like, we can do this differently. Some of us might have more help than the others. Some of us might have a little bit more, support and things like that. But that doesn't take away from being a real mom, from, having real worries and real fears and real love. And I think that's just one thing that we need to do a whole lot better on, especially. It's why the village feels empty. It's because we're not, we're really quiet these days.
We're not filling it up. Yeah.
We're not filling it up. Yeah. We're really quiet. And that's because we're yelling at each other all the time and we don't need to. So, awesome.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm honored.
Course. Another episode down. Thank you all so much for listening. If you loved today's episode, I would be so appreciative if you would leave a rating and review. I cannot begin to tell you how much those mean to me, but also how much they help me get in front of more eyes and more ears. As always, be sure to check back every Tuesday and Friday for a new episode, whether it's an episode with me and my husband, me and Katie, or just another incredible, amazing guest. Stay tuned for more honest, real, raw chit-chat. And hey, do me a favor before you go. Remind yourself how amazing you are, how enough you are, how special you are. And boy, oh boy, I sure am glad to have you here. Thanks, friend.